BinaryOptionsTutor.com presents Cantor Exchange Binary Options 0 to 0. Episode 2, Spot Option Platform. Okay guys, we're back with episode 2 of Cantor Exchange Binary Options 0 to Hero. In this episode, we're going to be talking specifically about the spot options platform. Right now, this is the platform that's available on the Cantor Exchange, and more platforms will be coming online as time progresses. First thing you can see is that we're almost to the end of this particular option, and that's our little timer. Very intuitive. As we reset, you can see clearly we've got more time in this little 5-minute option here, and you can see graphically the time is ticking down. You can see also the remaining time in the option right here on the little timing interface. Now, if you're going to get into a trade, here's my tip. First one, you're going to get into a trade. How much time do you have left? How long will that be tradable? Let's talk about what we saw just before this reset. Well, there wasn't any prices available over here. That's that dark area of a binary option, and when that happens is usually around that last minute or so of the option. For the longer time, it could be for more. Now let's start at the top and let's go left to right. Right here we've got the different assets. This is where you will select what you actually want to trade, and right now Cantor Exchange is offering some of the more liquid currency pairs and gold. Step one for me is always selecting the asset. I'm going to also cover my particular workflow. This is what my brother calls it. Not a lot of guys call it that. The next thing I have to do is to set my expire time. You've noticed on the live videos, or if you're very new, you can check out some of the live trades I've done, and some of them are within that 5 minutes. I think I've done some and taped them within 5 minutes, but also some are expiring at the end of the hour. Now, the times that are generally available here are around 5 minutes, 20 minutes, and then the end of the hour and end of the day. As the day progresses, we're going to eventually see some end of day times available there in that area. Next, we've got the date, which that's self-explanatory. Then we've got how many contracts do we want to put on. As you type in contracts here, you're going to see that multiple, how much these contracts would cost. Like I have 12 here, and you can see that's $1.20 risk in order to make that $10.80 if that actually were a contract that I wanted to put on. Now, not going to talk about the terms, that's going to be something we're going to cover inside the next video. When you don't have enough capital or you don't have this filled out properly, it's going to go red. You're going to get a message like that. Now, let's talk about slippage. I'm always setting this to 1 or 2. Here's something I've noticed from doing an accumulated amount of trades with this particular platform. When this timer here resets in just 20 seconds, this is going to reset. If I move over here, that slippage is just reset. Always remember to set your slippage. Now, let's talk about another area. We're going to go back to euro dollar, and we're going to talk about this area here, which is the price ladder. Why is this called the ladder? Well, down here at the bottom we've got the lower strikes for the underlying, and then it's just going up and up like a ladder. We've obviously got a side that believes this particular market is going to be lower than this particular strike, and the side that believes that the market is going to be higher than this particular strike at the end of this time right here. And that's all available in this area. The strike is also available here. When you click, strike's also available here. Earlier I talked about some redundant areas. The strike is also available here. These are all good focal points for you to be looking at to make sure that you're on the right strike, that you are actually trading at the price that you want to trade at. Now, here goes another tip. When I'm trading off of the spot option platform, I am not going to use the selected area here. I'm going to go to all rates. Now, this is going to let me see every strike that's available right then, and some of the strikes aren't going to have any action. But the reason that I'm switching is because if a strike were to become unavailable and there's no action on it, where we got here, if we go over to the other section, that strike's not available. Now, if you are actively trading and you had selected this strike, you move to the other section, what happened is that strike became unavailable. Suddenly I'm jumped from that strike to another strike. That again, that's why I've got this focal point here, this focal point here, this focal point here, to avoid scenarios like that. Early on, hey, I was caught with that little gotcha a couple of times. Now, and again, as I'm doing this, I always want to make sure my slippage is set. Now, let's talk about our chart area here. Here's our chart, basic line chart. As we move around our strike, wherever that strike is shown on this chart, and let's talk a little about reading a line chart. Here's a strike right here. and we can see an instance where we pinched up above that strike and where we move back down. We pinched up above that strike and where we move back down. If we were to move here, we can see an instance in this 1 hour where right now we're obviously above this strike, but we can see a lot of instances where we were trading well below this strike. So on the hour, and if I were trading for, let's say, just an hour, I can see we're high on the hour right now. That's just a little basics of reading a line chart. Well, I don't like their charts. I don't like the way they look, Alfred. Blah blah. Okay, I'm often trading off of the indicators that we sell on our site, and some are free at our binaryoptionstutor.com site. Shameless plug there. But I'm also looking at this chart. Why am I looking at this chart? Because the numbers that the exchange is accepting is the underlying price. That's the number that matters as far as my contract. So I'm going to pay attention as well to this chart. I'm going to learn whether I like it or I don't like it. I'm going to follow the wisdom of Ric Flair and learn to live with it, because I need to see these numbers are wonderful numbers, because as I stretch this chart out, I can see literally where prices have peaked according to the exchange. I can see we're very close to where price peaked here, and we're hitting that area again. And now I've expanded my chart out even further to the last 4 hours. And in this instance, that's a great way for me to see some resistance areas right here on the chart. Sometimes you'll see guys saying, well, I'm just trading off the chart. That's how they're using the chart. Sometimes you'll see me using a line chart like that. That's how I'm reading this chart and how I'm using price action just with this basic line chart. Now, aside from that, we've got our arrows here. On the Cantor Exchange, things work a little different. I'm going to cover this basic term right here. This is a call. This means that I'm thinking we're going to be above this line at the end of this expire time. This is a put. This means that I'm thinking we're going to be below this line at the end of this expire time. Quick way to remember these that I use is I will call someone up, and sometimes I'm subject to put something down. And that's all of the little terms I'm going to get into in this video, because the next video in our little Zero to Hero series is going to talk all about the jargon and the terminology that's pretty prevalent inside of the binary options community. See you guys on the next video. I hope this has been helpful to some who are learning the Cantor Exchange platform. Again, like, share, comment, subscribe. If we've helped you, please help us by sharing this information with others. See you guys on our next video as we dive into a little bit more of the meat and potatoes, talk about some of this terminology and what does it mean.